In the first scene, we see three girls running under cover of night into an abandoned, half-burned out building. Some kind of symbol is painted in red on the wall. Inside there is another girl, looking frightened. In the next scene, we see four female silhouettes against the backdrop of a burning cabin. 20 years later, Belfast. Dara has just learned about the death of her old friend and wonders whether the others know. Meanwhile, Robin, the mother of three sons, feels as if she is about to lose her mind. The boys are constantly making noise, and the woman can no longer bear it. She simply starts screaming at the top of her lungs, trying to let her emotions out, when suddenly her phone rings. Meanwhile, Saoirse, the screenwriter of a popular crime series, is talking to the producers. The story about a fearless female police officer has already grown stale for the audience, so the producers suggest shifting the focus from the detective storyline to the heroine's personal life, which Saoirse is not exactly thrilled about. In fact, this is not at all what she wanted. Saoirse always dreamed of writing stage plays, but in the end she has to adapt to the tastes of sophisticated viewers and the producers' demands. The woman is furious and disappointed. Robin keeps calling her, but she ignores the calls. Saoirse is determined to bring this series to an end, despite the fact that it is a very successful project. When she learns that her friend has died, she is left speechless with shock. It happened yesterday, and it was completely unexpected. Greta was very close to Dara, Robin, and Saoirse. The women were old friends. The wake will take place in a small town in County Donegal. Dara has a younger sister, Jamie. Their 72-year-old mother is ill. Since Dara will have to leave, Jamie will look after the elderly woman. Dara is very worried, because her sister is extremely irresponsible. Still, there is not much choice. The women are only 38, so they never expected that one of them would die. They are going to the wake of their late friend. No one knows that the women share an old secret from the distant past. None of them can believe that Greta is gone. Robin is terribly exhausted and suggests that the others get some proper rest, even under such sad circumstances. Robin is so tired of family life and the endless routine. The women do not even know why Greta died. Had she been ill, or had she had some kind of accident? Greta's sister-in-law was the one who told them about the tragedy. The women are puzzled as to why they were invited to the wake at all, since they had not seen Greta in 20 years, not since she moved away and cut off all contact. By mistake, Dara puts petrol in the car instead of diesel, so the women get stranded by the roadside. Robin has no problem saying exactly what she thinks out loud, while Saoirse simply remains in a state of silent panic. Fortunately, the tow truck arrives fairly quickly. The mechanic, a handsome 26-year-old named Liam, turns out to be very nice and offers to tow their car straight to Knockdara. This place feels a little creepy. When Liam learns that the women have come for Greta O'Neill's wake, he mentions that her husband, Owen, is his boss. It turns out that Greta died after falling down the stairs. Seamus, the eccentric owner of the town's only hotel, tells the women that she may have been drunk, though no one knows for sure, except perhaps Owen. In Knockdara, there is only one hotel, and only one taxi driver for the entire town. There is no entertainment to speak of. The women check into their rooms. Saoirse calls her fiancé, Seb, and is surprised to discover that her message about Greta's death never went through. Until then, Seb had no idea who Greta was. Saoirse explains that she was another girl they went to school with. It seems strange that Greta's social media pages have already been deleted. Meanwhile, Robin's phone rings. All she can hear on the line is crackling. Each of the women has a tattoo of the same symbol from the past, the symbol of their unbreakable friendship. Throughout the evening, Saoirse feels uneasy as she thinks about their shared secret. The women go down to the hotel restaurant to have a drink and reminisce about the past. Even though they have not seen Greta in so many years, they still feel connected to her. Saoirse wonders whether it could have been avoided if they had stayed friends. Robin and Dara do not think so. After all, no one has any control over their own fate. When Saoirse steps outside for some fresh air, she runs into Liam, who hands her the keys to the repaired car. He is not only a mechanic but also a police officer. Saoirse asks whether his boss, Greta's husband, is a police officer or a mechanic. Liam says that Owen is a police officer, and that he is well liked by a lot of people. There is an instant spark between Saoirse and Liam. Despite being engaged, she lets herself flirt with him. All evening the women reminisce about their youth, back when they still had their whole lives ahead of them. Saoirse looks worried. Deep down she knows that none of them came here to honor Greta's memory, but to make sure she had not told anyone their secret. That is the real reason. They can pretend as much as they like, but it does not change the truth. Although they have the wake to attend the next day, the women go all out that night. In the morning they are predictably suffering from a terrible hangover. They arrive at the O'Neill's house and cannot help wondering how a police officer could afford such a huge home. The atmosphere inside is rather creepy. The women are greeted by Greta's family. Owen does not remember his wife ever mentioning any of them. They explain that they had not spoken to her in many years, and that Gay Harton, Owen's sister, contacted them to tell them about Greta's death. When the man hears this, he clearly tenses up. According to the deceased woman's younger brother, she used to sleepwalk and fell down the stairs. The situation feels frightening, even insane. There is something very, very strange about this family. And why is there no one else at the wake except them? Unexpectedly, Greta and Owen's daughter, Maria, mentions that her father lied. In fact, Greta often talked about her friends and remembered them. Only Saoirse hears this, and Maria's words make her nervous. She is terrified that Greta may have told someone the thing they were supposed to keep secret until the end of their lives. Later, Maria secretly tells Dara that Owen does not have any sister named Gay Harton. Meanwhile, Saoirse peeks under the coffin lid, even though Greta's family had forbidden them to do so. The O'Neill's behavior becomes more and more disturbing. The women want to leave as soon as possible, but the O'Neills insist that they stay a little longer and have some tea with lemon cake. Sensing that something is wrong, the women run away. Owen is clearly not the nice guy Liam described him as. He follows the women in his car. Saoirse is convinced that it was not Greta in the coffin. Besides, Owen does not have a sister, which means it was someone else who contacted them. Robin loses control of the car, and they get into a crash. Owen comes toward them, looming over the wreck. Saoirse, barely conscious, can only watch helplessly. If it really was not Greta in the coffin, then where is she? The story then takes us back 20 years. Without their parents knowing, the girls got those very tattoos. Greta was being stalked by a strange guy named Jason Meadows, her ex-boyfriend. He frightened not only her, but the other 3 girls as well. In the present, Saoirse comes to in an ambulance. Neither Dara nor Robin has been hurt. As it turns out, Owen followed them because Saoirse had left her bag at the O'Neill's house. He was the one who called the ambulance. However, Saoirse continues to insist that it was not Greta in the coffin. She also points out that Owen does not have a sister. Robin and Dara, however, blame it all on the terrible hangover. Maybe they misunderstood something. In any case, going to the wake was a bad idea, since they had stopped being friends with Greta a very long time ago, and not without reason. Liam arrives to make sure the women are alright. Saoirse cannot take her eyes off him. Dara and Robin keep reminding her that she is in fact engaged. But Saoirse cannot help herself. The women want to get back to Belfast as soon as possible and forget all of this like a bad dream. Saoirse, however, still cannot shake the feeling that something was wrong in the O'Neill's house. The women start arguing, and Robin accidentally scrapes a car as it passes by. The driver turns out to be a woman. Judging by her appearance and the look on her face, she is not someone anyone should mess with. She keeps a gun in her handbag. Robin rushes to smooth things over, takes pictures of the scratches, and exchanges numbers with the woman. The 3 friends do not yet know that none of this is a coincidence. Greta is lying tied up in the woman's boot. After returning to Belfast, all 3 women try to settle back into their usual routine. Despite her conflict with the producers, Saoirse agrees to walk the red carpet. During an interview, she feels a panic attack coming on, and hurries to the ladies' room to freshen up. Saoirse feels that Greta is alive, but even if she is, neither Dara nor Robin wants to listen to her. Could this be connected to what they did 20 years ago? That is what Saoirse has to find out. That fire still haunts her nightmares. Saoirse goes over to her fiancé, Seb, and says that she has to leave right away. He does not understand what has been going on with her lately. She only says that it has to do with her friend who died. Dara attends a church service, and at one point she thinks she sees Jason Meadows. Meanwhile, Robin is trying to cope with 3 children. Her husband, Jim, believes that the whole household should be her responsibility because he works. This makes Robin furious. Being a mother of 3 children is work too, unpaid work at that. The couple are arguing more and more often. That same evening, Robin receives a mysterious letter in a red envelope. Dara receives one as well. Saoirse arrives at her parents' house, where a box of her old school notebooks is still kept. In them, she used to write down her scripts, ideas, and other things. Robin goes into the woods and finds that same half-burned-out cabin. 20 years ago, the girls set it on fire, but then it suddenly started raining. They decided it was time to move on to Plan B, burying the body. While Saoirse rummages through her box, Robin goes inside. The red symbol is still clearly visible on the wall, the one they tattooed on their bodies. In her personal diary, Saoirse finds something curious, the name of a certain Gay Harton. Robin runs into Dara, and both women scream in terror. Once they calm down a little, they try to figure out what happened. They both received a strange letter that says only, "Please find me." They immediately call Saoirse and ask her to come at once. It turns out that she received the same kind of letter too, but never opened it, thinking it was from one of her fans. Saoirse is sure that the letters were sent by Greta. She also shows Robin and Dara the notes in her personal diary. In the past, just for fun, they used to come up with different names for themselves by making anagrams of their own names. And so, Greta Henny is actually Gay Harton, the woman who introduced herself as Owen's sister. Saoirse is sure that this is a cry for help, but Robin no longer wants to help Greta. Saoirse, however, is convinced that they did the right thing. Jason Meadows deserved it. The events of that night bound them together forever. Now Greta needs them again. At that very moment, the female driver is taking the tied-up Greta somewhere. Saoirse suggests that they start by finding out whose body was in Greta's coffin. They have already buried one bastard before, and they can do it again. Robin agrees only on the condition that they stop as soon as they prove that it was not Greta who died. The female driver arrives in Knockdara and checks into the hotel. Jim is not at all happy that his wife is going away again. How is he supposed to manage on his own with 3 children again? But there is nothing that could shake Robin's resolve. The female driver meets Owen in the hotel bar, while the women try to come up with a plan on the fly. Owen gives the female driver, whose name is Booker, a black bag and a passport. She is a professional and promises to take care of everything. The women run into Neve, Dara's ex-girlfriend. Shortly after their breakup, Neve got married and moved to London. She is only here for a short time. The encounter stirs up powerful emotions in Dara, but there is no time now to mourn the past. By mistake, the women barge into someone else's funeral. All 3 of them are taken to the police station. Only then do they learn that Greta's family has decided to cremate the body. Liam questions Saoirse to understand the reason for their reckless stunt. The woman notes that he is very serious at work. Liam says he can help, but only if she tells him the truth. However, Saoirse cannot bring herself to do it. Saying that Greta is alive would sound insane. Suspecting that something is wrong, Liam looks through the coroner's report. The supposedly dead woman's friends are clearly hiding something. Besides, the body was brought to the morgue with a woven bracelet on her wrist. All of Greta's social media accounts have disappeared. There is no trace of her left. Sometimes Dara even feels as if they made her up. Booker takes Greta to a remote lighthouse on the coast. Now she is a prisoner there. Owen burns their wedding photograph. Liam remembers that on the night of Greta's death, he was supposed to be on duty, but for some reason his boss, Owen O'Neill, swapped shifts with him. The 3 friends are about to pay the bill for their dinner in the hotel restaurant, but the waitress tells them it has already been taken care of and points to Jason Meadows. The women stare at him in horror. 20 years ago, when Jason, her strange ex-boyfriend, attacked Greta, she was forced to defend herself and took his life. So why is he standing in front of them now alive? The women run for it. Apparently in Knockdara, the dead do not stay dead for very long. In any case, they want to leave this cursed town as soon as possible. However, it is not that simple. Because of the approaching storm, the roads are closed, and the women have to turn back. On the way back to the hotel, straight into the lion's den, they try to understand what is even going on. Technically, they did not hurt Jason. They only helped Greta bury him. Could he have woken up and climbed out of the grave? Saoirse reminds them that the grave was very deep, and Jason was absolutely, definitely dead. She suggests that it is not Jason himself but his son. Otherwise, why has he not aged? One way or another, they are about to find out. This man, whoever he is, introduces himself as Andrew and looks completely harmless. He says he was looking specifically for them because they were Greta's friends. 20 years ago his father disappeared without a trace, at least that is what people believe. A week ago, Andrew received a strange call from a woman who did not introduce herself. She only said that if he wanted to find out the truth about his father, he should talk to Greta. So Andrew immediately went to Knockdara. However, he never got the chance to speak to Greta, because she died. Robin says that they know nothing about his father. Since no one is getting out of town today anyway, the women have to accept Andrew's offer to have dinner and talk. They are still shocked that Jason Meadows had a son. There are no rooms available at the hotel, so they are put up in the attic. Robin is furious, especially since she is going to miss her eldest son's birthday. He is turning 8. Robin no longer wants to be part of this. Everything has gone too far. She just wants to get back to ordinary life. But it is unlikely that any of them has a choice. If the person who called Andrew and sent him here knows about Greta, then they almost certainly know about them too. Liam reports to Owen about a certain Jody, whom he recently spoke to. She introduced herself as an old friend of Greta's, but for some reason she was not at the funeral. Liam saw her at the hotel. Owen firmly says that his wife never knew any Jody. Locked inside the lighthouse, Greta remembers being at a resort in Portugal with her husband and daughter some time ago. Jody was working there at the time. There was a woven bracelet on her wrist. When Jody saw Greta, she felt as if the ground had fallen away beneath her feet. There was clearly some story behind Greta's abduction. In the present, the women have dinner with Andrew, as they promised. They claim that their friendship with Greta faded after they left school. Andrew says that when his father disappeared, Greta was still in her final years at school. His father's name was Charles Sampson, and he was a journalist. Hearing this, the women cannot hide their shock. Even though Charles was very young, he had already managed to publish several high-profile articles. He was investigating a case connected to the cabin in the woods. Charles had invented his own cipher, so it is almost impossible to make out what is written in his diary, but the same symbol tattooed on all the friends' bodies keeps appearing all over the pages. It turns out that Greta lied to her friends when she said that Jason Meadows was her ex-boyfriend, a cruel tyrant. At least some part of that was not true. No one was looking for Jason Meadows because he simply did not exist. The man they buried was a journalist. What on earth had Greta gotten herself into? Now the women have no idea what is going on, or what this mark is that Greta convinced them to have tattooed on themselves. They are almost like a cult. Robin blames Saoirse for everything, because she was the one who convinced the others to help Greta hide the body. Robin never liked Greta, who had been the new girl in their class. Saoirse thought Greta was different from everyone else, and she was not wrong. The women have a terrible argument. Upset, Saoirse goes down to the hotel bar and gets a bottle of whiskey. She feels deceived and is determined to get to the truth at any cost. It is like one of her crime scripts come to life. Liam appears, interrupting her solitude. Nervous about being so close to the handsome police officer, Saoirse acts foolishly and starts talking about her fiancé, Seb. He is a director and a very sweet guy. At the same time, Dara tries to calm Robin down. She no longer wants to stay in the same room with Saoirse for even a minute. It seems a rift has opened in the women's friendship. While Saoirse and Liam have a heart-to-heart, Robin and Dara talk about Greta. She was always ready to listen to each of them, but she never told them anything about herself. They never truly knew Greta. Because of the storm, the power goes out in the hotel. Liam mentions that the day before Greta's death, a certain Jody had been looking for her and introduced herself as an old friend. Jody wanted to give Greta one of 2 woven friendship bracelets. Since Liam found a bracelet in the morgue, the women must have managed to meet after all. Stunned, Saoirse does not say out loud that the body in the morgue could have been Jody's. Dara thinks they should do the right thing and tell Andrew the truth. He has the right to know where his father's body is. But Robin wants nothing to do with that, because it would mean admitting their involvement in a crime. She cannot allow Dara to tell Andrew everything, no matter how good her intentions may be. Saoirse and Liam can no longer resist their mutual attraction and are just about to kiss when Owen suddenly enters the hotel. Because of the raging storm, the police have to patrol the town. Liam was not supposed to get distracted. When Saoirse goes back up to the attic room, she is horrified to find Dara tied up. Robin explains that Dara wants to turn them in to ease her conscience, so she had no choice. If it comes to that, there is plenty of room at Robin's house. Dara's intention to tell Andrew about his father's death forces Saoirse and Robin to make peace. Together they convince Dara to keep silent a little longer, at least until they figure everything out themselves. Owen calls Booker and tells her that he saw Andrew at the hotel. They need to hurry. Greta is still being held captive at the lighthouse. The women try to trick Seamus, the hotel owner, into giving them information about Jody, but all they manage to learn is that her surname was Pryor. Saoirse is absolutely certain that it was Jody in the coffin. The storm has passed, the road back to Belfast has reopened, and Andrew is getting ready to leave. But he will come back, and he will not rest until he gets answers. Andrew says goodbye to the women. Dara can barely stop herself from telling him the truth. Since the women had earlier introduced themselves as Jody's friends, Seamus gives them an envelope found in the room where she had been staying. In fact, Andrew has managed to decipher part of his father's diary, so he knows for certain that Greta is behind all of this. From the contents of the envelope, the women learn that Greta and Jody probably met at the resort in Portugal. Meanwhile, Booker cuts and dyes Greta's hair. Andrew has no intention of leaving after all. Instead, he heads to that half-burned cabin in the woods. The women go to the resort's website and see Jody Pryor listed among the staff. Booker changes Greta's appearance so that she looks like Jody. Andrew sees the same symbol on the wall as the one from his father's diary. Saoirse cannot stop thinking about the fact that it was not Greta in the coffin, but Jody. Nevertheless, Saoirse has had to return to filming. Seb is busy with the wedding preparations, while she seems completely indifferent to the whole thing. Saoirse uses any excuse to see Liam. He comes straight to the film set. She is the one who asked him to come and talk. They discuss who Jody is, and why Owen denies her existence. Liam suggests that Owen and Jody may have been lovers. He also mentions that Jody bought a plane ticket online yesterday. Saoirse cannot understand how that is possible if Jody was in the coffin. Of course she does not say that out loud. Meanwhile, Robin calls the resort hotel where Jody worked. It turns out that Jody took 5 days off to fly to Ireland and should already have returned, but she never came back. Robin sees a message to Jim, her husband, from someone named Jesse. Thinking Jim is cheating on her, Robin grills him. It turns out that Jesse is actually a man, Jim's boss. This is Robin's second marriage, so bitter experience has already taught her a few things. Dara meets with the funeral director who arranged Greta's funeral. The man mentions that there were burns and scars on the body. It all looks suspicious, especially considering that the dead woman's husband has strong connections within the police force. Putting all the facts together, the three friends come to the conclusion that if Jodi's body was in the coffin, then Greta must be the one flying to Portugal. They will fly after her to find out the truth about that night and everything that happened afterward. Greta, disguised as Jodi, knows that she will not be able to simply escape. Booker keeps a close watch on her. She really is a professional. To cover her tracks, Booker even gets rid of her accomplice by blowing up his car. The three friends arrive at the resort in Portugal and check into the hotel where Jodi worked. Despite everything, Robin intends to make the most of the situation and go to the spa or get a massage. Booker takes Greta to a place that will be her home, at least for the time being. Greta is forbidden to go outside, or even look out of the window. The women assume that Greta may have faked her own death and run away because she is hiding from someone. Either way, they decide to focus on Jodi first. The women go to the staff cottages at the hotel. Inside the cottage where Jodi lived, they find a book called The Doll Complex, as well as the symbol drawn on the wall, the one Greta once convinced them to have tattooed on their own bodies. There is also an inscription on the wall, Heaven Vale. There, they run into Booker and recognize her as the woman whose car they scratched on the way from Nakdara. Booker pretends to be Jodi's mother and says that her daughter disappeared after they had an argument. The women are confused because if this really is Jodi's mother, then Saoirse was wrong when she claimed she had seen Jodi in the coffin. Robin is now completely confused and wants to take at least a short break from all this madness. But her plans fall apart when she gets access to Jodi's locker and finds a box and an envelope inside. Saoirse calls Liam in Ireland and asks what he thinks about the possibility of Owen and Jodi having had an affair. Liam says that without proof, it is nothing more than a theory. They could ask Greta's mother. If anyone knows anything, it is her. Meanwhile, Dara goes to the supermarket and buys tequila and a few other cheap things, because everything in a 5-star hotel is horribly expensive. Liam comes to the O'Neill's house to talk to Mrs. Henny, Greta's mother. The woman lives there. Booker calls Owen and tells him about the three women looking for Jodi. This could complicate everything. Owen is sure there is nothing to worry about. Suddenly, through her binoculars, Booker notices that the women have Jodi's box. The letter turns out to be from Greta, addressed to Jodi. Greta wrote that it was over between them. This suggests that they were lovers. The women cannot open the box because it is locked with a code. If it was not Jodi in the coffin, then Saoirse is completely confused. Booker, pretending to be Mrs. Pryor, comes over to their table and says that Jodi has been found, and that they have rented a yacht. Booker invites all three women to dinner. Saoirse does not let go of the box. In the past, Mrs. Henny was a psychiatrist. All her life, she helped people escape the traps of their own minds, and now she has fallen into one herself. Liam notices a book called The Doll Complex, which explores the relationship between mother and daughter. When he mentions Jodi Pryor, Mrs. Henny turns away abruptly and says she does not know any Jodi. Liam senses that this is a lie. For Owen, who has just returned from work, it comes as a surprise to find one of his officers in the house. The women step aboard the yacht where Booker has led them. While they are distracted, Booker steals the box and then starts the yacht's engine. The women feel the boat begin to move. Andrew knocks on the O'Neill's door, but they do not open it, waiting for him to leave. Liam realizes that the doll complex did not end up in Mrs. Henny's collection by chance. The women feel that something is wrong. They find themselves locked inside the yacht. The friends watch Booker leave in a boat, while they are left far from shore. Clearly Jodi is not there and never was. The bomb Booker left on the yacht explodes, but the women manage to escape on an inflatable banana float that Dara bought cheaply at the supermarket. They make it to shore. Saoirse was right after all. Jodi is dead because Booker is clearly not her mother. Saoirse had suspected this from the very beginning, so she wisely swapped the box for an identical one. The women take the next flight to Ireland. Greta, who had managed to doze off, wakes up to a strange noise. Dara, Robin and Saoirse are horrified to see Booker in a flight attendant's uniform. End of episode 4.